Hi fam, how you all doing? Welcome back to a new lesson. My name is Bilikis. In today's class, we'll be learning how to make this stylish open hem short BUBU dress. And trust me, it's going to be very beautiful, especially for beach, you know, all these wonderful outings. Here I have 2.5 yards of fabric, which is by 60 inches. Even if you have by 45, it should do, but because of the neckline, you could just get a fabric by 60 inches. How do we fold? The first thing is to fold that 2.5 yard into two equal parts. So that should be giving you about length of 45 or so. But I think I want the length of mine to be maybe just 42 inches or 43, but I could just fold that anyway. So now this is the 2.5 yards here, 2.5 yards, and here is by 60. Okay, so all I'm now going to do now is this 2.5 yards length here, just fold over to have it equal. So, or if you want it shorter, you can always fold. So I'm going to just have it this way. So can you see? So I should be having about 45 or so. So even if it's 45, I can fold in 2 inches to have it at 43 or 42. Okay, yeah, this is like 44.5. So depending on whoever cut out the fabric. So once I fold it into two this way, the next thing will be to now fold along that 60 inches width. So I'm now going to have something like this. Okay, the fabric has been folded as we've said. Okay, now here we have like 30 inches, but just take the measurement from the bone at your back to wherever you want it to stop on your arm. But on the average, 22 inches to 22.5 is just perfect. Okay, where with seam allowance. So I'll be making use of 22 inches with seam allowance. So all I will have to do now, so that we can still save some fabric by the side, is to now adjust. So what I will do is to pull it this way, and you see, then I'll measure to have the 22 inches or 23, depending on your preference I want to work with. So here I have like 22.5, which is okay. So you can still see some excess fabric we have, so we can use that for the neckline. So now let's start drafting. I just cut this off so that I just have the 22 inches I needed. So now let's start drafting. The first thing is the shoulder slope. So I'm going to measure 3 inches here. So once you mark 3 inches, then you come to the end here and mark 1 inch or 1.25. Okay, that would be the slope. Then you connect to the 3 inches. So once you form the slope, the next thing is just the neckline. So for the width, I'm just going to do about 4.5. Because it's a deep V, the neckline is going to be deep. There's every tendency for it to widen up at the shoulder. So between 4 and 4.5 is just fine. So here I'll mark 4.5. So this is 4.5 along the slope. Then for the neck depth, I'll make it between 7.5 to 8. So for a medium size, 7.5, plus size 8 is okay. So this is now 4.5 by 8 inches. That is it. And I'm just going to curve it out. So I'm using the straighter part of my armhole curve. Sorry, this is not the neckline. This is the neckline. I did 3 inches. It should be 4.5. So ignore this. So it should be here. Okay. Good. Yeah. So this is the neckline. So from the actual neckline now, I'm going to measure 1.5. So that's the wideness of the neckline I want. So 1.5. I'll measure it down. So here to 1.5. Then I'm just going to connect it to . Good. So this is what I have. So let me cut this out so it doesn't confuse us. This This is the neckline of the 4.5 by 8. Good. So this is off. Now this is the neckline. So for the open hem, all I'm just going to do now is for you to, because it's joining around this point, so maybe like 3 inches or 2.5, depending on how much you want to open. Okay, so maybe 2.5 or 3 inches. Just place it at the edge of the fabric, the folded fabric, and then move it closer. So this is 3 inches. If you want it to join around here, or if you want 2.5, it will be here. If you want 2 3/4, it will be here. So depending on your preference. Now come from here and just measure about 6 inches or 5 inches or 5.5, depending on your preference. So I think I'll just do that 6 inches from the edge. Then I'm going to connect from there to the point I want it to be opened by. I'm just going to form it this way. So I think I'm okay like this. Yeah, I think that is fine. And we are almost done. The next thing you want to do is the sleeve opening. So for the sleeve opening, so about 10 inches, 10.5 is okay. We are sewing up 1/2 inch here. So let's just do 10.5 or 11, depending on your preference. So you can just notch that point. So that point is where you start sewing from straight down. Okay, so now let's cut this all out. So we are going to be cutting this to now cut the actual neckline. Don't forget to cut this off. So this will be for the neckline. Now I can cut this off. Good. So the dress is ready. Don't forget to notch this point. That's for the sleeve. So that is all. So the next thing for us now is to now cut the actual neck line. So this is what it looks like. So I measured 44, trim off the excess. Let me open it up. So this is what you have. Can you see that? So this is the neckline, the open hem, and then you sew this up. So here now, all you have to do is to hem this from here down here. Okay, this will be open. We'll finish up with bias strip. Also do the same thing to the other side. It is time for us to cut out the neckline. So here we have 2 pieces. Okay, now I'll be needing 4. So 1 for the back, 1 for the front. But now, because we are going to be turning it with each other, so I'm going to need 2 for the front, 2 for the back. So we are cutting out 4. How do I go about that? From the excess we have left, so I still have the 2 facing each other, right? So I'm going to fold once this way. Make sure it's smooth. Can you see? Then I'm going to fold again. So after folding, I can now place this as a pattern. Then I'll just place it this way, making sure this matches. Then remember the neckline was 4.5. We don't want to do more than that, so you can use that to adjust. So it is just fine. The next thing now is for me to cut it out. First, I will mark 1/2 inch seam allowance here, also at the shoulder area, and then just 1/4 inch here, or you can do half, then trim it up later. Okay, 1/4 here, half here, half here. So then I'll cut it out. So you can see I've added 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here, and just 1/4 inch here. Then I can cut it all out. So I'll be having 4. It's quite thick. I've cut it all out. The next thing is to start sewing it up. So this pattern is no longer needed. So this is what we have. So we have 2 for the front and 2 for the back. So there are 2 ways you can do this. Is either as it is now, right side facing each other, just sew in 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch here. Okay, then you do the same thing, or simply pick one out, okay, and one out. So you join one to this one, then you open it up and now sew it together. That's the inside. Then bring it on the other side. I've sewn it on the wrong side and turn it out on the wrong side and give it a good press. So on the wrong side, this is what it looks like, and I make sure I notch all round so that it's going to be easier when you flip it over. So the last thing we are going to do now to form the neckline is to open it this way, and match it right side facing each other this way. Can you see? And then I'm just going to sew in 1/2 inch straight down. I'll do the same thing to this side. So now back to the dress. So this is what it looks like now. So the first thing I did here is to just fold in 1/2 inch, then 1/2 inch to secure the sleeve opening. So with the notch, I know where to start from and where to end. And don't remember, I have sewn in the shoulder. So I have this open part here. So there are two ways. You can either use the same fabric to run a bias strip over it, so that you can finish it on the outside just as the sample we are working with. But here I'm making use of a white bias strip. I have a video on that which I'll put in the description box below. Then I'm going to finish it up inside all round. So once I've done that to the other side, then we can fix the neckline. Right now I've sewn the collar, so you can see it. I just brought it all out. So the next thing I did is to just fold in 1/2 inch inward with my pressing iron. So to make it easier for you, you can add interfacing to this neckline if you want, okay? It all depends on your preference. So just fold that in. So now going back to the main dress. So this is the dress. So you can see I've sewn the sides this way, so the notch helps me to know where to stop and start from, and also finished the opening with the bias strip. So that is it. So the last thing we are just going to do before we sew up the side is to now bring in the neckline. So you just put it inside. So let's take the upper one. So you're going to work with your pin a lot. So first at this part I'm going to pin it down to cover it up. So that's why you are working with your pin. Or you simply just open everything up and just attach it on the wrong side. So when you get to the upper part, you just fold it in. But that you make sure you have overlocked. So you just sew it all around. So when you get to this open part, you just fold it in and then sew it. That's another way. So I'm now going to make sure, take your time. So I'm working with the front first. So you cover it up this way, and then I'm going to pin. Can you see? So you're now going to sew very close to this folded edge and back here. So when you get here, you just finish it up this way. Then I'll continue with the back. I've pinned it all down and you can see how it looks. Can you see? So you have a neat finishing on the wrong side. So that's the good thing about this method. So I'm going to pin the back the same way and sew it up, then sew up the side and hem the lower parts. Please, I want to make anything. So guys, this is what the dress looks like, and you can see how beautiful it is. Everything is neat on the inside, so as the outside. So you can see that even the opening. So what I will do now is to just put it on for you guys to see how it looks. So this just falls down this way. Can you see? All the way down. You could even make it into a long dress. So let me put it on for you to see. I'm sure you can see how lovely this dress came out, and trust me, this is just so beautiful. I don't know what to say because I myself love everything about it. Yes, and you know what I want to tell you, just try to make it 3/4, then maxi, and you'll see how beautiful it's going to come out. But for this, I'm okay to go anywhere. I'm going to turn to show you the back to see how it looks. So guys, ensure you make this and don't forget to share, like and subscribe.